to this on film because it's, it's whatever, 2 o'clock in the morning, but we're here with Alice, and what's your proper pronunciation of your last name?
Drobna.
Drobna. Okay, yes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And so you're finished now. Tell me what you think about the course and how you're feeling right now and all that good stuff. You obviously, this is small beans to a Tour Divide. I realize that.
Well, maybe now is not a good time for me to say what I thought of the route.
No, you please do, because this is how we're only going to get better.
Maybe in an hour when I sit on this for a while. It's definitely tough for single speed.
Yeah.
You don't get a break at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like it's never-ending intervals. You're going up, you go down. You're going up, you go down. You're pushing, you're pedaling. You're pushing, you're pedaling.
Yeah.
There's nowhere where you can either coast for a few miles or nice gradual climb for a few miles. No, it's those harder hills that just take.
And you were pushing
so much
a 3220, is that right?
Yeah, 3220, and I should have gone even easier.
Okay.
And then I went rigid because Dan said it was great for rigid, and it is not.
Well, Dan is not maybe the best.
I know that now.
He's hardcore.
But
so.
For future, if any ladies want to come and do it, do not go rigid.
Yeah. Well, and gentlemen,
suspension.
I mean, I've done it both on rigid and suspension, and my opinion too was suspension. Really, because I found that after all that climbing, then I'm going just almost a slow downhill as I was going uphill,
exactly what
because
happened to me.
I just couldn't let it go. I couldn't let it go. Otherwise, I'd get just shaking all over the place.
Right.
So, no, I'm right there with you. And Dan did this with me last November before as kind of preparation for Tour Divide.
Yeah.
And when he got done with Tour Divide, he said, "Oh man, that course is so hard, and Tour Divide's like nothing compared to this course."
I was gonna say that my absolute worst 3 days on the Divide.
Yeah.
When I thought I was hitting the rock bottom and I was crying, they were nothing compared to these 3 days.
Okay.
This was so hard. The course is just it takes everything you have and some.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I mean, if people are getting ready for something, this is the way to get ready.
This is a good
This will get you
prep
ready for anything. It's definitely tough.
Yeah. And through the Sierras, I know that's kind of up and down, undulation.
The first day, someone told me that Dan said the first 100 miles were the hardest, and I disagree with that.
Okay.
The first 100
I would
miles.
too.
First of all, everyone's fresh, so you go out and you climb everything, and it was so beautiful. I stopped so many times for pictures. But yeah, the first 100 miles were actually very enjoyable, and then you hit the valley.
That's
and you
a
hit
snoozer.
When it's hot, and that was just the miles. I would look at my odometer, and it would not be changing.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is broken. I'm not going anywhere. And I would see where I'm going. I'd see the mountains, and they were not getting any bigger.
Yeah, the Mendocino Range, is that the one that really?
Yeah.
That's the one where it really, you've got all things considered. Once you go across the Sacramento Valley, even though you're not really climbing, but you are. It's 65 miles to the top of Goat Mountain, and it's all up. Even though you have that slight little bit of undulation and whatnot.
I made it all the way to the top.
And you camped out at the top too?
I camped out at the top.
Yeah.
Because my goal was 150 for that day, and I got to 130, and I had nothing left.
Shot. Yeah.
And the top was just so beautiful and peaceful. It was kind of wide open.
Yeah.
There were some tracks for the four-wheelers and stuff. So I knew there were people, so there would be no animals.
Okay, I'll pause this now and tell you the truth. No, I'm just kidding.
But it was
it's up there is like where Dan and I saw the most amount of poop and tracks and.
That's good. That's good. I know that now, but where I slept, it was at the very top, and I crossed. They had some these bench-looking things.
Yeah, like railroad ties or something.
Yeah. So I crossed it because it was so nice and soft and smooth.
Yeah,
and when I went to bed, it was the quietest I've ever.
So it wasn't real windy and whipping
and
up there.
And it was warm.
Yeah,
it
good.
Was so warm. It was beautiful. So I got pretty good rest, but then I figured, oh, I'm at the top. Great, I'm going to have a nice long descent. Yeah.
Yeah, you do
That
have a
never
nice long
came.
descent, but it's hard. It's a hard descent.
I was going as slow as I was climbing.
Yeah.
Some spots.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Well,
And then, you descend a little and then back up.
yeah.
You don't get your break.
No.
On this course, you
You don't
break.
get any breaks. And even in the valley, if you're, 3220, now you're just spinning and, not really making a whole lot of tracks across the valley. And I'm a big single speeder too, so I've always thought, what gear would I use? My 3220 is kind of my all day gear too.
Yeah, mine too.
And I thought, at least a 3221, maybe 22, but then God, the valley's just going to be awful.
It would be, but the rest of it, at least
You'd be climbing. Yeah.
I think if I did it again, I would go 22.
Yeah.
Easily.
Okay.
And just, grind through the valley, and that's fine. And maybe do the valley late at night, early in the morning, just to kind of miss,
The heat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this time around, I kind of had a schedule because I'm supposed to work tomorrow.
Oh.
Which probably won't happen, but
Not gonna happen.
It's,
So I was
it's today.
yeah, so I was trying to get here on Monday. It was funny because now, in retrospect, when I was talking to Dan before the race, he asked me when I wanted to finish, and I said, oh, Monday, no problem. I did Smoke and Fire in 2 days, 6 hours. So I'm like, oh, this is great. Same distance. He looked at me like, you're going to do it in 3 days? I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't think anything of it, but now I know what he meant.
Yeah. Well, and can I get your opinion? We've been having a lot of issues with the spot trackers, for whatever reason on this one, that it just seems to be spotty, or, we'll see you on the map, and then it'll be, 3 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours later, and all of a sudden the dots make this big, move across the screen, and we're like, oh no. And so that's how I missed Blake coming through here, and I just happened to be here when Kurt got here, but their dots weren't anywhere near here when they came through.
Well, I noticed that I would look at because I keep checking my spot, so it's always making sure it's tracking, and I would notice that the GPS would be read a lot, and I wonder if it was
canopy
either
valleys,
satellites or a lot of dense trees for miles sometimes.
Yeah.
So that may have something to do with it.
Yeah.
But,
and did you make any wrong turns on this last bit of single track? How?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
It was at night. It's kind of hard to see when you have to jump on a single track and get back on the road. And in that area with mountain lions, the 20 miles of single track, that was really tough to orient in because the lines were kind of all over the place. They weren't spot on.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of backtracking.
Okay. Well, we knew that might be. Well, I don't say might. I mean, if my own concern was being able to, one is even with my GPS being back there, it would be, acquiring satellites. So, I was worried about the track that it gave me, of course.
Right,
and that's what then I'm worried about the track that's laid down. And I was comparing it. I was looking on Strava, on other people's rides out here, and kind of overlaying the routes to see if it was close. And I tried to clean it up as best I could, off of that.
It's so tough in that area.
Yeah.
Because how dense the trees are. You will never get the perfect signal. I mean, the best thing to do is, like, if you go to Google Maps and actually zoom in and see where the single track is and maybe draw the line somehow in a base map or something. But that's tough. I mean, it's really tough. And I know a lot of people will go the wrong way. Like the guy, I don't know his name, but the one who went to sleep with the mountain lions. He got lost on